You've heard me say that you parent from memory. But here's the version that no one is talking about. You can also marry from memory. You build an entire relationship on the emotional habits you absorbed as a kid. And you do it completely unconsciously, without ever realizing what is happening. I'm going to be careful with the specifics of this story because they're not mine alone to share, but the pattern is mine and it belongs in this series. The silence I grew up with, the distance I watched between my father and me, the emotional operating system our house ran on. It didn't leave when I left home. I carried it with me into my first marriage, into the early years of being a father. And I only understood that long after the damage was done. Here's what marrying from memory actually looks like. It's not dramatic, it's not the big fights, and it doesn't announce itself. You fall in love with someone, and somewhere underneath the love you're also falling in love with, that feeling, a feeling that's familiar, a feeling that is safe, a feeling that is known. Not because it's good, but because it is yours. It's your programming. And what's familiar to me, what I was raised inside, was warmth on the surface and distance underneath. So I created it. And I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't wake up one day and choose it. It's just my default. Because it's the only software I had. There's a specific thing that happens when you grow up in an emotionally distant house. You get very, very good at performing connection without actually creating it. You learn all the moves, you say all the right things, you show up and you function. But there's a layer of surface between you and the person you love that you don't know is there. Because to you, that surface feels normal. For you, that is connection. It's only when someone shows you what real presence feels like that you realize what you've been doing. And by then, a lot of time has passed. In my case, 17 years. I've done things in relationships that I'm not proud of. Not cruel things, not dramatic things. I almost want to say worse things, quiet things. Going silent when I should have spoken. Agreeing when I shouldn't have agreed. Being physically present while being 1,000 miles away. Performing okayness and calling it keeping the peace. And the worst part, the part that took me the longest to see, was that I thought I was protecting the people I loved by not bringing my problems into the house. And I wasn't protecting them. I was just doing what my father did. Keeping it surface, keeping it safe, and keeping it hollow. And I call that love. The question that sits with me now is this. When you love someone, are you loving them? Or are you loving a version of them that fits the emotional world you were raised in? Because here's what I know, unfortunately. I have been in relationships where I was in love with a memory, not the person. The feeling they gave me, the familiar shape of it, the way it rhymed with something I already knew. And when the real person showed up, different to the memory, I didn't know what to do with that. Programming, so I fell silent and I called it love because it was the only kind of love I knew how to give. There was a moment, and I'm deliberately going to be vague about it, but there was a moment when someone who loved me said something that I will never, ever forget. She asked me, "Are you here? Have you ever been here?" And obviously I thought she was wrong. I was there. I showed up. I did everything. I supported. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. But that's the thing about the surface. From the outside, you look present. from the inside of the relationship, there's a wall of careful silence. And the other person has been knocking on it for years. And you didn't hear it. Not because you didn't care, because this is just what you know. Here's what I want to say to you if you're watching this and if you're in a relationship. The patterns your father modeled don't stay in your childhood home. They come with you into your marriage, into the way you love, into the way you disappear when things get uncomfortable. And your partner feels it deeply. They can't name it. They don't have a language for it. They feel the surface, they feel the distance, and they file it. And at some point, they just stop knocking. I'm still in this. I haven't figured everything out. But I started doing something I should have done much earlier. Staying in the room when it's uncomfortable. Saying the real things instead of the thing that keeps everything manageable. Not because I'm suddenly a good guy, because I finally understand what it costs when I don't. In the next video in the series, I'll talk about something about my father that I found out after he died. Something I didn't know and something he never told me. And what it means when the person who was supposed to show you how to love had a whole chapter of their life you had never accessed. That's in the next video.